Now to Seaside, Oregon, where KFC is targeted in a major lawsuit after claims the owners forced employees to serve rotten meat.
Yes, he does. He says after he refused to serve bad chicken, the owners retaliated and fired him from the general manager job. Now, this is a copy of that lawsuit, which goes into detail about meat that James McNeil said had a foul, rotten smell and changed in color from white to light green.
Can you just think of biting into a crispy, delicious fried chicken only to realize there's something terribly wrong? What if we told you there's a dark reality behind the golden crust and juicy flavor? KFC, a fast food giant many have trusted for years, might be hiding some unsettling secrets in their kitchens that would make you think twice before ordering. The real question is, can we still trust KFC after seeing what goes on behind the scenes? The rotten chicken. KFC has been serving you rotten food for centuries. There are countless complaints about the food quality hanging across the internet. The same happened with a customer. Excited to satisfy her craving, a regular KFC customer heads to KFC and orders a streetwise 2-meal with a snack burger. She's expecting the crispy, flavorful fried chicken that we all associate with KFC, but she receives nothing but that. As she opens her meal, the chicken looks off. It's not the familiar golden brown. It's pink, has a strange smell, and seems far from safe to eat. In fact, it's rotten. Naturally, she's shocked. So, she does what anyone would do. She heads back to the counter to voice her complaint, expecting the situation to be handled quickly and with an apology. Enter Grant, the manager on duty. When she shows him the rotten chicken, she's hoping for an apology, or at least a replacement meal. Instead, Grant insists that the chicken is supposed to be that way. Yes, you heard that right. He claims the spoiled pink chicken is typical and expected. As you can imagine, the customer is confused. Who in their right mind would think rotten chicken is acceptable to serve? But things take an even more troubling turn. After some back and forth, Grant changes his story. He admits that the KFC location had reported the chicken as faulty, but instead of discarding it, they had been given authorization from an area manager to sell it anyway. So they knew the chicken was terrible, but someone higher up in management still allowed them to serve it to customers. At this point, the customer is understandably furious, but the discussion doesn't stop there. While she's in the middle of her argument with the manager, another customer walks in with the exact same complaint. This second customer had also been served rotten chicken, and on top of that, their burger was undercooked. Now it's clear that this isn't just a one-time mistake or an isolated incident. Something is seriously wrong at this KFC location, affecting multiple customers. It's one thing for a fast food restaurant to make a mistake with an order, but it's an entirely different issue when a manager admits they've been instructed to sell unsafe food. Even more disturbing is that this isn't the first time this customer has experienced this issue with KFC. She mentions that a similar thing happened to her just last week at a different location, suggesting that this problem might be more widespread than just one store. Imagine being in her shoes, ordering what should be a simple, enjoyable meal, only to be served something that could potentially make you sick. And even worse, the restaurant's management knew the food wasn't right, but sold it anyway. It makes you wonder if any other people were unknowingly served rotten chicken that day. How often does this happen, and how many customers have eaten something unsafe without realizing it? The question we're left with is this: how would you feel if this happened to you? Would you be able to trust KFC again after being served rotten chicken, knowing that management was fully aware of the problem? But this story is just the beginning of a much bigger issue. Frozen filth inside the kitchen. The horror continues with a brave KFC employee who decides to blow the whistle on what really happens behind the scenes. Imagine a kitchen filled with frozen solid chicken, meat so hard it's impossible to cook properly. Instead of following standard procedures for safely thawing meat, the staff is being told to forcefully defrost it with hot water. You probably know this is a considerable health risk, even if you're not a food expert. Defrosting frozen meat using hot water is a massive no-no because it can lead to uneven thawing, allowing dangerous bacteria to grow. Proper food safety standards require meat to be thawed in controlled environments, like refrigerators, to keep it safe. But here at KFC, this basic rule is being blatantly ignored. And the result? Potentially unsafe chicken is being served to customers without any idea what's happening behind the scenes. Realizing this practice is unsanitary, the employee decides to take a stand. He captures the whole thing in a video, showing the rock-hard chicken dunked in hot water before being cooked and served to customers. He knows full well that refusing to go along with these unsafe practices might get him fired, but he refuses to compromise people's health. And he was right. His commitment to doing the right thing didn't go well with management, and he was eventually fired for refusing to participate in these unsanitary acts. Fired for protecting people's health. What does that say about KFC's priorities? Clearly, it's not about customer safety. This shocking footage raises so many questions. What else are they willing to overlook if they're cutting corners in something crucial to food safety? Could this be happening in other KFC kitchens around the country? Most importantly, how many families have gathered for what they thought was a safe, quick meal without knowing the actual risks? What would you do if you knew the food you were about to eat had been prepared like this? Would you still feel comfortable ordering from KFC? We are not done yet because this situation is getting more disturbing. Serving old, moldy food. Things are getting worse. We found another video showing a KFC employee exposing what's going on with your fresh chicken. And here's the kicker. It's not fresh at all. In fact, it's far from it. The employee reveals that KFC reheats old chicken, the kind that's been sitting out all day, and then serves it to unsuspecting customers as if it were freshly made. Can you imagine? You think you're getting a hot, crispy piece of chicken straight out of the fryer, but in reality, it's been sitting around, losing its freshness, and then reheated to pass as a new batch. This isn't just a minor issue, it's a significant violation of trust between the restaurant and its customers. And it's not just the chicken that's a problem. The employee shows that other menu items, like mac and cheese and green beans, are treated with the same disregard. The mac and cheese, it's burnt. The green beans, they've been sitting out for 3 or 4 days, way past the point of being safe to eat. The green beans are not green anymore. They have become blackish. Is it hygienic? It's hard to imagine any restaurant serving food in such terrible conditions, but it's business as usual at this KFC. Even more disturbing is that this food isn't just being reheated once. The employee reveals that it's the same food they're planning to sell again the next day. That means the chicken you might order for lunch tomorrow has already been sitting around for a full day, reheated, and served to you as fresh. It's enough to make your stomach turn. Are you still thinking about ordering that family bucket? What if the chicken in your order was from yesterday, or worse, 2 days ago? It's pretty horrifying when you think about how many meals are being served like this, and how many customers are unaware. You walk into the restaurant, trusting that the food you're being served is fresh, but the reality is far from it. At this point, we've got to ask, how many times have you eaten food sitting around for days without even knowing it? Have you ever stopped to think about the freshness of your food at fast food chains? If this happens at KFC, could it also occur in other places? The ugly truth behind blood, mold, and rotten chicken. You'd think the nightmare would stop there, but it gets even more disgusting. Yet, another video surfaces, this time showing something genuinely stomach-churning. A KFC employee captures footage of a chicken filled with blood, mold, and discoloration. To make matters worse, the employee reports that the chicken was so far gone that it actually smelled like rotten eggs. Just think about the health risks of serving chicken in this condition. It's not just a matter of bad taste, it's a serious food safety concern. Customers could quickly get sick from eating food in this state, and the fact that this chicken was even close to being served is unacceptable. But what's really disturbing is that this isn't just an isolated incident or a one-time mistake. According to multiple employees, this happens across multiple branches. It's not just one rogue store cutting corners, it's a widespread problem. The moldy, discolored, and blood-filled chicken shown in the video could be making its way to any KFC outlet, served to unsuspecting customers who trust the brand for a quick meal. It really makes you wonder how widespread this issue is. How many customers have unknowingly consumed food far below the safety and quality standards? If employees report this in different locations, could it be happening on a much larger scale? The idea that moldy, rotten chicken could be served regularly across multiple KFCs is horrifying. And here's the real question. If this is the standard for KFC's chicken, what does that say about their overall commitment to quality and customer safety? We've trusted KFC to deliver a consistent, reliable meal for years, but these stories suggest otherwise. How can a company that knowingly serves rotten, reheated, and moldy food claim to prioritize the health and well-being of its customers? It's not just about disappointing meals, it's about potentially risking people's health. When businesses prioritize profit over proper food handling and hygiene, it raises concerns about the safety of every bite we take. The voice of the people. It's one thing to hear about shocking incidents from whistleblowers and lawsuits, but what are customers saying about KFC's food quality? Let's look at what's happening from the perspective of the people who experience it firsthand. From Quora discussions to TripAdvisor reviews, the general consensus about KFC's quality paints an unsettling picture. Starting with Quora, a user asked, "What is wrong with KFC food?" The responses highlight consistent issues with both quality and safety. One respondent claims that KFC's food has drastically declined in recent years, citing concerns over the freshness and flavor of the chicken. According to them, it's not uncommon to get meals that are either too greasy or outright undercooked, leaving customers disappointed and, in some cases, sick. Another user brings up the notorious problem with hygiene in many KFC locations, stating that the kitchens are often poorly maintained, and the staff seems careless about proper food handling procedures. Many Quora users shared their thoughts on KFC's inconsistent standards across locations. While some places may serve fresh, hot chicken, others are known for cold, soggy meals or chicken that tastes like it's been reheated several times. The general sentiment? You never know what you'll get when you order from KFC, and that lack of consistency is enough to make some customers think twice before returning. But it's not just Quora users who are voicing their concerns. On TripAdvisor, reviews like the one from a customer in St. Clair Penrith, Greater Sydney, provide first-hand accounts of terrible experiences. In this review, the customer describes their visit as a disaster. They mention receiving cold and soggy chicken, which seemed like it had been sitting out for hours. What should have been a quick, satisfying meal turned into a frustrating experience, and the reviewer even went so far as to say that KFC had become unacceptable for anyone who values quality. This wasn't an isolated review either. Other TripAdvisor reviewers chimed in with similar complaints, detailing everything from long wait times and poor service to food that was clearly reheated and far from fresh. For many customers, it seems that the once reliable fast food chain has developed a reputation for cutting corners when it comes to both the quality of its food and the cleanliness of its locations. So, what does this tell us? Public opinion on KFC is increasingly negative, with more customers reporting bad experiences and questioning the brand's commitment to quality. Whether it's undercooked chicken, poor hygiene, or inconsistent food preparation, the complaints keep stacking up, making it clear that KFC's reputation is suffering. Ultimately, it's not just isolated incidents from disgruntled employees raising red flags, it's the everyday customers speaking out. When so many people report similar problems across different locations, it's hard to dismiss their experiences as mere one-offs. Some people just post their reviews, and some take legal action, like the former employee of KFC, James McNeil, did the lawsuit that exposed it all. A former KFC employee at Seaside, Oregon, did just that. This employee, James McNeil, couldn't sit back and watch as the franchise he worked for was serving rotten chicken to unsuspecting customers. His story is shocking and clearly indicates how deep the problems run within certain KFC franchises. McNeil, the general manager of a KFC franchise, noticed something alarming. The chicken they were supposed to be serving was in horrible condition. It had changed from a standard white color to light green, and it emitted a foul, rotten smell. You don't need to be a food safety expert to know this is a huge red flag. But here's where things go from bad to worse. Despite these obvious signs of spoilage, the franchise owners told McNeil and other employees to cook and serve the chicken anyway. In their eyes, throwing away the expired chicken would have been too big of a financial loss. For McNeil, this was unacceptable. He knew that serving this expired, spoiled chicken could seriously risk customers' health, and he refused to go along with the plan. He wasn't willing to let the drive for profit come before the safety and well-being of the people who trusted KFC for their meals. But standing up for what was right came at a price. McNeil was fired for refusing to follow orders that would have endangered customers. He wasn't the only one. Another employee was fired for the same reason, refusing to serve chicken that had passed its expiration date. This shows that it wasn't just a single mistake, but part of a pattern where the franchise was willing to put profit over people's health. The franchise cut them loose instead of rewarding these employees for taking a stand. But that's not where the story ends. McNeil took legal action and filed a lawsuit against the franchise, accusing them of wrongful termination and whistleblower retaliation. The lawsuit, which is seeking $500,000 in damages, exposes just how far some franchises are willing to go to protect their bottom line, even if it means putting customers at risk. According to the lawsuit, McNeil was not only fired for refusing to serve the spoiled chicken, but he was also retaliated against for bringing these dangerous practices to light. What's even more troubling is that this might not be an isolated incident. If one franchise in Seaside, Oregon, is willing to serve rotten chicken and punish employees who speak out, what's happening at other locations? How many other employees have been forced to serve unsafe food or fired for refusing to do so? It's hard to say how many people unknowingly consumed expired, unsafe food from this franchise alone. Think about it. Every customer who came in, ordered a bucket of chicken, and trusted that they were getting a quality meal may have been eating chicken that was far from fresh, with owners prioritizing cost over customer safety. The lawsuit is about more than just the money. It's about holding franchises accountable for putting people at risk, sending a message that profit can't come before safety, and protecting customers from being served food that could make them sick. The real damage, though, is already done to the customers who unknowingly consumed expired food. They trusted a global brand that claimed to deliver fresh, quality meals, and instead, they were served rotten, unsafe chicken. As we examine this case, it becomes clear that the problem is more profound than just one bad experience or a rogue employee. It's a systemic issue where cutting corners and making more profit precede basic food safety and customer trust. So, what do you think? After hearing about this lawsuit, do you believe it's time to rethink your next bucket of chicken? Is it worth knowing that some franchises may be more concerned with their bottom line than the food quality they serve? After hearing these shocking stories, it's hard to see KFC the same way, right? From rotten chicken to reheated leftovers, the behind-the-scenes reality is unsettling. Is it worth risking your health for fast food? Let us know. Will you still be eating at KFC after this? If you found this disturbing, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening content. And before you go, which other fast food chains do you think have similar secrets? Let's discuss.